All right, hello guys, welcome here to our NFL season preview. I don't know what's up with these cameras. I'm getting pretty irritated, and it's just my computer's being a complete dipshit tonight. So let's spare you guys my constant bitching, and just know that if the frames look bad, that's exactly why. Um, No particular reason, just computer being dipshit. But we apologize for not being on um, Sunday. We
Right.
have busy summer schedules still, and we're still getting back into the swing of things. Um, Hopefully, we'll be back every week going forward. Um, Once, obviously schedules get a little crazy, so we'll see what happens. But we do have an NFL show coming up today. We're going to start by talking the changes, which is actually pretty ironic because we just came. Well, actually, that's one place we were, the REO Speedwagon concert, and the song Roll with the Changes, so we're rolling with them here. So before I ask you your thoughts on this, let's just roll off a lot of the changes that we saw this off season. And we start
Mhm.
with the big one. Sunday Ticket is now on YouTube TV and not on Direct TV, other than for the local bars that like to give that. Fourth down failed
Mhm.
conversions. They are now treated as turnovers and cannot be reviewed by or challenged by a coach. They can be reviewed, but they will be generated by the booth instead.
Right.
Tripping is now a 15-yard penalty. I haven't seen that called much, if at all, in recent years, other than once or twice. It's such a rare commodity. Then, as far as the last rule change, there's now an emergency quarterback position on the 53-man roster. So if QB1 gets ejected or injured, and QB2, gets ejected or injured, then a third quarterback can be inserted into the game. So you saw a lot of teams during the cuts this past week kind of resort to three quarterbacks. Unless you're the New England Patriots, then you only keep one and put two on the practice squad. So
Yeah.
we won't dive into that because clearly Belichick's a freaking idiot. Player changes. The biggest one, of course, Tom Brady is still retired,
Yeah.
as we know. He still has a few more days to come back before we officially declare him retired. Um,
Mm. uh, how that happened.
I still got to put it out there. He held out for a month and then decided to come back last time.
I was gonna say true.
Um, Aaron Rodgers, Delvin Cook, Alan Lazard, Randall Cobb all have joined forces on the New York Jets. So now they're the Green Bay Jets, apparently. Um, the Lions have made some decent moves, beginning with the defensive back position, adding C.J. Gardner-Johnson and Cameron Sutton this past offseason. And add in that of the big moves they've made, they dealt DeAndre Swift to the Eagles and picked up Jameer Gibbs in the draft, as well as, or shoot, that's the last big one I saw for the Lions. My mistake. I was misreading. Jalen Ramsey was dealt to the Dolphins by the Rams. Orlando Brown Jr. now joins the Bengals offensive line, which is crucial. Of course, we know how much that has been talked about the last few seasons. Going back to DeAndre Swift and Jameer Gibbs, of course, Rashad Penny, DeAndre Swift have joined the Eagles running back room, while Sanders goes to the Panthers. As far as the coaching changes, Frank Reich has been hired by the Panthers, Shane Steichen hired by the Colts. Jonathan Gannon, he's set up to fail. Let's not even wait to talk about thoughts on that. He's set up to fail in Arizona, replacing Cliff Kingsbury.
Yeah, safe to say that they're going to get that number 1 pick.
Yeah. And it's not even his fault. It's not even his fault. But Sean Payton, Joe Lombardi team up on the Denver Broncos. They are going to help Russ cook a little bit more than a pickle sandwich. D'Amico Ryans. Yeah, exactly. D'Amico Ryans has been added to the Texans as the head coach. Then the last one, this one's very shocking. Eric Bieniemy, not a head coaching job, but he leaves Kansas City to take the offensive coordinator role with the Washington Commanders. His replacement, probably the dumbest offensive mind in all of football, in Matt Nagy. So with that,
but somehow he'll have success.
Well, look who he's got at quarterback. Anyway, Bill O'Brien back to the Patriots once again as the offensive coordinator, an official offensive coordinator, not, 20 different guys calling offensive plays behind Matt Patricia like last year. And then Nathaniel Hackett has reunited with Aaron Rodgers with the New York Jets. So I guess the first thing that, as I just rattled off a huge list, and thank God I typed it down for you so you didn't lose track. What are the biggest ones? And what are your thoughts on all this?
Just because the Jets got all those players formerly of the Green Bay Packers doesn't exactly mean that they're going to be any better than they were last year. Rodgers is a big hypocrite, and I say that very lightly, is that he had half of those same players in Green Bay, and he wanted to bolster up and bring in certain guys to the Green Bay Packers to make them better. But yet, you bring most of your talent that you had last year, like Lazard and Cobb, and also those other guys who this is a better situation. I think we're gonna have a good year. I don't know all about that. Just because better results. As far as the 4th down conversions thing, I could have swore that it was always considered a turnover on downs kind of thing. So I was kind of confused about that one.
Yeah, so I guess that one used to be a challengeable play, but now it's being classified as same thing as a turnover, where now it has to be booth reviewed if it's a close call.
Okay.
So I guess that's just ultimately the change is how it's reviewed, whether it's, challenge generated or just, NFL, New York wanting to take a look at it.
Right. And honestly, I will say this now. I don't think that Sean Payton to the Broncos is going to last very super duper long because it's been reported that apparently he wants Russ to stop focusing on his media image and just focus on himself and football and stuff like that, which is not a bad thing, but not a good look for Sean Payton heading into his very first year back after being gone like a year and a half, like 2 years away from coaching the Saints. So it just doesn't look very good for Sean Payton heading to the Broncos. Yeah. Ramsey to the Dolphins seems very odd. Ramsey's not going to be starting off with the Dolphins right away. Cardinals situation just not very good as they're not going to be with Kyler Murray for the very first 4 games of the year as he's on the physically unable to perform list. I think that was also a rule change that if you were on that one to start the season, that you cannot play until after week 4. I think
For the
in
PUP
years
list,
beforehand. Yeah, I think in years beforehand it
it was like
was you would
6 weeks.
be on it to start the season, but you can play the next week afterwards. Now it's you are basically gone for 4 weeks and can't play until at least week 5, which sucks for Von Miller, for Jonathan Taylor can't
I,
play until at least week 5. I know his contract situations. Um,
I think they used to be
Same thing
a
with
5 week or 6 week thing before, so it's down to 4 now.
oh well. See, I mean, technically it was a change too, but yeah, all of that right off it seems very odd, but what do you think about some of the changes?
So, kind of going down the list, and I'll try to be quick with it. Sunday Ticket, much needed change. Going to YouTube TV, much needed change
Mhm.
because
Oh,
DirecTV
okay.
had it like, shut out to anybody who didn't have the satellite package. So, I think much needed change. It had to happen, you know, because now you see how much
Right.
money YouTube TV's making out of it. You see Verizon now advertising for it. I actually got an email myself the other day that they're giving away 4 free months of HBO Max for it too, which is really nice, or Max or whatever it's called now. Um,
Oh wow, really? Yeah,
yeah.
just Max.
So, emergency quarterback's a good rule. I like that. Um, Tom Brady staying retired, you already heard my thoughts on that. Um, you know, Orlando Brown joining the Bengals, I think that's good. The Lions bolstering that defense, another good sign that they are ready to turn the corner. I'll give my prediction on that later when we predict the divisions.
Hmm.
Rashad Penny, DeAndre Swift, this has to be the weirdest Eagles running back room from the standpoint of both these guys are 20 carry backs, and it's just like a too many cooks in the kitchen sort of thing for them right now.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know how to feel about that. Sanders to the Panthers, I think, is a good idea. He reunites with offensive coordinator Frank Reich. I don't remember if they were together or not, but I believe they were.
I don't recall.
But
I don't think he was. I think it was somebody else.
hmm,
I think it was former. I think it was former Dolphins running back that
hmm,
was on the Eagles during that time that won the Super Bowl.
you might be
Jay
right.
Ajayi.
Yeah,
I think he was.
yeah,
I think I'm pretty sure he was the starting running back for the Eagles back in the day. I don't think it was ever Miles Sanders. There was also that other like decently good running back for the Eagles too back in the day, but I don't think it was ever Miles Sanders.
yeah. I think you're right. As far as the coaching changes, Frank Reich, great hire. Should have never been fired by the Colts. I know Colts fans might disagree with me, but he was.
Yeah, unfortunately his firing was overshadowed with how many quarterbacks they had start every single year and have so much, you know,
see,
backlash.
See, Philip Rivers was the best quarterback you signed in that time, and he only gave you 1 year and retired. Like, no one
True.
expected that. Matt Ryan, everybody knew he was on a downhill spiral at the time that the Colts signed him, and they're like, oh, well, it paid off for Matt Stafford going to another team. Well, it'll pay off for Matt Ryan, just not the case. Blew the biggest lead in NFL history in typical Matt Ryan fashion.
Right.
And with the help of probably the worst head coaching hire in history in Jeff Saturday. So thank God The Colts came to their senses and got Shane Steichen. Poor Jonathan Gannon, dude. He's man. I mean, like I said, that dude's just set up to fail because of how bad that team looks entering the season.
Right.
Sean Payton, I'm sorry, and I think I said it before and I'll say it again. I think this tarnishes his legacy as a head coach. He was a first ballot Hall of Famer as a head coach, or a pretty high up ballot. Now he's going to be a subpar coach in probably one of the toughest divisions in football. So, I'm sorry, but
I mean, all the power to him to try to turn that Denver Broncos team around, but I just don't think he's going to have that great of success.
yeah.
If it's anybody I probably feel bad for is D'Amico Ryans.
I mean, they made some good moves this offseason.
I don't think Robert Woods is the bad wide receiver one, but fortunately, Robert Woods is more of a complementary receiver as like a wide receiver two than a wide receiver one. So I just don't know exactly what kind of Texans team we're going to get this year. Stroud, I think he can do decently well in Houston, but I think they just need some more help on that offense, I should say.
Isn't CJ Stroud? He's one of the Ohio State guys, and you know how I feel about those guys at quarterback. So,
yeah, true.
As far as the Chiefs, no change. It doesn't matter who they could put a pet rock as an offensive coordinator, and they'd still find a way to make it a top 5 offense because of Andy Reid. So we all know Andy Reid's pulling the strings. And then Eric Bieniemy going to Washington. It sounds like it's already off to a little bit of a rocky start because everyone says he keeps screaming and yelling all day. So, that one will be an interesting one, and with Sam Howell being their starter.
We'll find out exactly how Sam Howell will do under his system. So,
do you know what? I think he wanted this chance to say, you know what? I'm not getting a coaching job because Andy Reid's the best offensive mind in football. Let me make my case with a team that needs me to call offensive plays and doesn't have an offensive-minded coach. So, in a way, this was a ladder, like a move to move up the ladder. Even though he's proven time and again he should be a head coach in this league.
Right. Yeah.
But
especially with them having a defensive-minded head coach.
Yeah, exactly. Bill O'Brien was a much-needed move for the Pats, but it's, again, a tough division. The East and the West in the AFC are probably the toughest divisions in football right now, and I just don't see this being a big change, but I think it's a change that'll kind of put Mac Jones in that, when we're talking year 5 option next year for him, I feel like it's going to dictate it, but I feel like it's going to help him kind of get back to the Mac Jones everybody expects him to be.
Right. I think that this is a make or break a year for Mac Jones anyway. He's the only active quarterback on the roster, so that's already putting a lot of pressure on him to succeed this year. There were a lot of reports that maybe Bailey Zapp was going to be, taking that edge, but when he gets released and put on the practice squad, it's like, doesn't seem like they have very much faith in Zapp than they do with Mac Jones. Mac Jones, I would like to see him doing some success. Like you were saying about Ohio State quarterbacks, it's the same thing with Alabama quarterbacks too.
I don't know about that. The last two Alabama quarterbacks have done all right for themselves, so.
I mean, yeah, Tua and I wish nothing more than the success for Tua and Mac Jones and especially Bryce Young. I think Bryce Young can have some success in Carolina, but I guess time will only tell.
He's got the right guy coaching him. I'm just telling you that right now. Um, so.
True. So we're ready for some
With
hot
that, I'll
takes
let you
and some
make your
bold
hot
predictions.
takes. If you got any.
Well, I guess the hot takes can be I think Arizona should get penalized for purposely tanking. I really do.
Should
I
they?
mean,
Yes. Will they? No.
probably not. I mean, there's hot take that um, I think somehow I think hot take could be I think the Raiders will be better than what people are expecting them to be. I guess it all depends on if Jimmy Garoppolo does stay healthy. But I say that the Raiders can definitely be there. But I guess bold prediction is I could see the Chargers definitely competing with the Chiefs this year, especially if that injury to Travis Kelce is a lot worse than initially stated because he hyperextended his knee, which doesn't seem like a whole lot, but if it ends up being a lot worse, I could see the Chargers making a run for that division, especially with Travis Kelce being hurt right now. I mean, I I, I think that's a bold prediction. I saw a
and
bold
Chris
prediction.
Jones is holding out.
Yeah, exactly. Um, I say a bold prediction is that Buffalo will be a lot better than everybody is thinking that they're going to be. I think they're still going to win division. Of course, we'll talk more about it, but I think that how about this bold prediction? When Von Miller does eventually come back to the Bills, I think that he can be a sack machine. Do I think that he's going to lead the league in sacks? No, but I think he's going to definitely contribute to a lot of sacks for the Bills. I think that he's going to have at least 10 plus sacks once coming back. And I know that he'll miss like at least the first 4 games, but I think that he'll come back and really make an impact for Buffalo.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that obviously. Um, going off of that, I think this is the year. If the Chargers are going to do it, this is the year. Plain and simple. There's too many good moves they made this offseason. I know the Austin Eckler thing was quite a distraction, but I'm just going to say that that's kind of a bold prediction that I think the Chargers have the shot and will do it this year. I think they will have a chance at not only winning the division, but I'm going to put this out there. They are going to sweep the Kansas City Chiefs this year. That's my bold prediction. And guess what?
I could see it.
And guess what?
I don't think the Chiefs are going to.
One of those games, it'll be a win by 10 or more. Just throwing it out there.
It could be.
Okay. Justin Herbert.
I say, I'm going to put this out there. Hot take. I think Buffalo either beats the Bengals or the Chiefs in the playoffs to finally get over the hump.
Chiefs, yes. Bengals, no. I'm sorry. Bengals are too good. But as far as going on to the Bills, I'm sorry. This is the bold prediction. It is this year or never, and that's I'm gonna stand on that hill, and Jason, I'm gonna die on that hill. I'm sorry. It's this year or never.
I was gonna say I definitely happen to agree with
Like
that one.
they've got to make up their minds at this point, because I think if they don't
I
do it this year, if they play third or fourth best in the AFC in total, then you got to make a decision of, look, we're eating the salary cap now. Do we just blow this up, minus Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs? Do we blow it up and just say, the players that aren't well noted, that are eating up most of it, do we just trade them away or release them and just start fresh with a clean slate after the salary cap penalties? You know,
right.
I think that's a decision that's got to be made, because not only, are they about to get into cap hell sooner or later just to chase Kansas City and, frankly, the Bengals, who are, I'm sorry, the best team in the AFC from last year, because let's face it, the Chiefs had a cakewalk in the playoffs thanks to a freebie for the first seed.
Right.
So I think, like I said, it's this year or never as far as that goes. The Jets, I'm sorry, they're not gonna be like I. Here's the thing, they're gonna be good, but you gotta weigh the rest of the AFC into this picture. Okay, let's weigh the rest of the AFC into this picture. Do you really think? I'm sorry, I'm gonna point out the entire media in this one. Do you really think in probably the toughest, not even probably, the toughest football conference, that the Jets and Aaron Rodgers are just going to steamroll everybody, dethrone the Bills, and Aaron Rodgers is going to return to MVP?
See, if it happens, I'll shut up. If it doesn't, then you better put some spec on the Bills. That's all I gotta say.
Put some respect on the Dolphins, too. At least they're a step closer.
I don't know.
Okay, look. I like Robert Saleh. I've been on that train from the day he was hired, and you know it, and everybody on this show knows it. Okay, I've been high on him. He's probably the best defensive coach. Not as good as McDermott, not as good as, who was it? Leslie Frazier, not as good as him, but he's a guy who builds top 5 defenses. And sorry, I wasn't sure if my internet was going out, so I just wanted to be sure. Looks like you're still there, so
Yeah.
all right, sorry, I just wasn't sure. So, but yeah, Robert Saleh builds top 5 quality defenses, and C.J. Gardner-Johnson, and I got news for you, he's going to be known as the best corner in the game at the conclusion of this season. That's going to be the bold prediction as well. Nathaniel Hackett benefited Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay. I believe it's going to return to that, but again, it's a different conference, folks. Okay, this conference has about 9 teams that could play for a playoff spot. Okay, maybe 10 if you include the Steelers, who are just going to be like fringe, like they're just the team that's always there until the end. So,
Right.
9 or 10 teams. I'm sorry, but they are not going to come in here and absolutely rout the AFC. And if I'm wrong, I'll save this clip and put it down. As far as the NFC, Dak's gone at the conclusion of the season. Dak is on the hot seat. That's the bold prediction. Why else would Jerry Jones trade for Trey Lance without telling his quarterback without telling his head coach. Okay? This is a message straight from the owner. He said, get your shit together or get out.
Right.
Okay? It shows he has
I
no
feel
faith.
like the memes that are going around thinking that he traded for Patrick Mahomes.
Don't be shocked. If the salary caps are turned off, he could do that.
True.
Again, the Cowboys are the most valuable franchise in America, so. But,
I know.
as far as that, I think that's about all the bold predictions, hot takes we have. One more. Lions are going to win their second playoff game since JFK. Yes, that was a meme. No, was it appropriate? No. But is it true? Yes.
I mean, I'm hoping they can be able to actually do it. I'm hoping that they can shock the world. Because as we're heading into the next one, if somehow they do not make the playoffs, unfortunately, he might be the one coach that could be very well on the hot seat this year. And I don't want to say it because I think Dan Campbell is really turning around that Lions team for the better. But if somehow you get all that talent and still don't get to the dance, I think that he's gone. I hate to say it.
Jason, you and I have been on ends about this. I mean, of all the things over 4 years, over 4 years, we've either agreed or disagreed about. You and I could not be more off page on this. I'm sorry, he's not on the hot seat, dude. Like, there's no way after the response from Hard Knocks, there's no way after essentially coming back from the grave, essentially, last season to battle back and battle the Vikings till week 18. There is just no way he's getting fired.
Bill Belichick, I think is going to be on a hot seat.
That's another hot take.
I know that's very weird to say, but it's got to be truthful at this point. I think Josh McDaniels is going to be on the hot seat entering the season. I get it. You know, you have Jimmy Garoppolo, who you've coached before, and you know the kind of production that you're going to get out of him. But I really do think that if the Raiders do not get anywhere close to the dance, I think that he's going to be on the hot seat. Oh man, I'm trying to think of other coaches that could very well be on that.
I don't want to put Jonathan Gannon on there, but I feel like, you know, could he be the scapegoat is what I worry about when they already know they're not going to win games.
Could be.
Just things you think about.
Just knowing that route that Houston coaches go, I think that Miko Ryans probably. I hate to say
Doesn't
it.
deserve to be.
I know
that's a shame.
But it's true. I mean, look at Houston coaches don't last more than like a year. So he's already on the hot seat without really being on the hot seat, and it's sad because, you know, they're really. I mean, how much could it be on the GM and how much it could be on the coach? Because it's a very bad situation. You know, it's not a very profitable team. I mean, it's also was an expansion team from 2002, so it just I don't know. I really want to give the benefit of the doubt to Houston, but I hate to say it, I think that Miko Ryans is on the hot seat in his very first year of being there. Jonathan Gannon very well could be too, but I don't think it's going to be truly his fault when the team is just trying to rebuild already.
Yeah.
The teams that could very well be on the hot seat, I think that you would have to go with Dallas. I mean, there's a lot of pressure on them. I know that they made playoffs last year, didn't they?
They did, and they won a game and then lost the next round.
I think that they're a team that's going to be on the hot seat heading into the season because, I mean, you get rid of Amari Cooper, you bring in Brandon Cooks, who Brandon Cooks in the past has had 1,000 yard seasons.
You dumped Zeke too.
So you get rid of Zeke and you have Tony Pollard. So I think that they're a team that is very much on the hot seat heading into the season because, this is a team that could, I wouldn't say easily be in the playoffs, but definitely pushing towards getting into the playoffs. And, they're a team that just can't get past the second round whatsoever at all. So I think that they're a team that is very much on the hot seat.
Mike McCarthy too.
They're usually early. What's up?
Mike McCarthy too.
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, if you got your head coach going, or if you got your owner going behind your back.
Knowing Jerry Jones, he'll probably keep on to Mike McCarthy after this year. So.
Yeah.
I mean, look how long it took for Jason Garrett to finally get fired.
Yeah. See, I think there's not one but two head coaches in that division that are on the hot seat. Okay. First off,
Ron Rivera is one of them too.
And I hate to say it because Ron Rivera really is a good coach, but two teams he's not led. I mean, he led a team to Super Bowl 50, but he hasn't done anything since. And again, like I said, I hate to say it because he's a big reason why they got to Super Bowl 50, at least the Panthers, then, gets cut by them. I'm like, Washington's a good spot for him. Here's the deal. I don't think it's just that. I think, there's new ownership there in Josh Harris. He's clearly wanting to build a winning team. And I could see him being impulsive in this situation and saying, I want to win now. This guy ain't doing it.
Right.
Okay, I could see that. And Magic Johnson, how much of a voice does he have in this ownership group? Okay.
He might because, look at what he's done with the Dodgers.
He's no longer there, but yeah.
Oh, wow.
Wait,
really?
Yeah, I think he sold him, but we'll have to look that up. But I'm
pretty sure before he did, he won the World Series with them. So,
yeah. So
I think that he can do enough or have enough say of being able to make a good winning culture in Washington. I think the only thing that could actually save Ron Rivera's job is if somehow Sam Howell and the Commanders do get a playoff berth. Maybe that can save Ron Rivera's job. Yeah. But if they don't get towards anywhere close to the playoffs, I think that you would have to start fresh.
The other question is, how intimidated is he by the guy he just hired?
True.
Because keep in mind, that guy's been a hot commodity the last few seasons for head coaching interviews. You got a new, fresh owner in the league. There's a possibility this team could say, you know what? We're hiring your replacement. Or your offensive coordinator is your replacement.
That's probably why he left to Kansas City in the first place.
It's possible.
It was probably his only opportunity to finally become a head coach.
See, Ron Rivera, Mike McCarthy. I'm with you on Bill Belichick. However, I'm going to say he doesn't get fired, but I think he gets put in the Tom Coughlin situation of it's mutual. We both agreed. It just was the best move for our football team going forward. Oh, but Bill Belichick staying on as GM and president of football operations or something stupid like that.
Yeah, that I could see very much
That there's
happening.
there's no way that they'll let Belichick go that easy, at least. Um,
Right.
so then looking again, Josh McDaniel, I agree with. Jonathan Gannon and D'Amico Ryans, I can see being scapegoats, but I don't think the Texans are going to be as bad as everyone says. Okay, I do think they're going to be bad, but I don't think they're going to be, personnel change bad. Who's the Cleveland Browns coach? My goodness. But he should be on the hot seat too. Kevin
Is it still what's his
Stefanski.
name? Yeah. It sucks for Stefanski because he did have that really good season with Baker Mayfield to make playoffs,
Yeah,
and they were very close to like beating Kansas City that year too. And
yeah,
it very well could have been Buffalo and Kansas City, and I think the AFC Championship game too.
yeah,
But fortunately, it did not happen. And then Buffalo ended up losing to Kansas City that year, and then Kansas City lost badly to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So
yeah. Speaking of that, Todd Bowles as well. Add him to that list.
yeah,
Head coaches on the
unfortunately.
hot seat. Um,
And honestly, I think it just sucks for his situation because it's Baker. Well,
mhm,
it does suck for him because I mean Tom Brady. He had Tom Brady last year, barely won the division with Tom Brady last year, and then lost badly to the Cowboys in the playoffs. Now you have Baker Mayfield, and you don't know what kind of Baker you're going to get. Are you going to get the one where he took the Browns to the playoffs kind of Baker Mayfield, or are you going to get the one from last year where he came in like halfway through the season and was trying his damnness to be able to do well for the Rams, and then went to Carolina and
mhm.
wasn't good there at all. Or no, it started off with Carolina and then went to the Rams, and just was a very bad situation for Baker Mayfield all together. So you don't know what kind of Baker Mayfield you're going to get. I mean, he does have a decently good offensive system in mind, but
well, we'll get to see firsthand later in the season, so
that's
can't wait
true.
to do
We
that.
will we will be there.
But I'm gonna go with this one. This could be a shot in the dark. I think Robert Sala's on the hot seat too. You don't get that much talent and get that much of a fail ceiling in a way to where if you don't make playoffs, you know, point being, if he doesn't make playoffs with this roster and how much they invested into Aaron Rodgers and his circus from Green Bay, um, I'm sorry, there's just no saving you at that point.
Well, I mean, I guess it all depends on
It's
injuries
it's a prove it.
at that rate.
It's a prove it year. So
Yeah, as sad as it sounds, it definitely is 100% a prove it year for them.
then oh man, I just hit the last one of mine. Oh yeah, the Chargers coach, Brandon Staley. If he's not on the hot seat after what happened in the playoffs last season, I don't know what the hot seat means anymore. Because that dude should have lost his job after the playoff game. And I know there are a lot of owners that would have been impulsive enough to fire him after that.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think he has at least like one more year in him if that was to be the case. But
But I kind of mentioned my
again,
teams.
I mean, hopefully he learns from his mistakes.
Yeah.
That's all I can say.
Now, teams that should be on the hot seat, going off of teams, I'm sorry, the New Orleans Saints. How do you keep, At some point, you look at the cap hell you're in, and you just have to think to yourself, we should really just start tanking and conceding. But every year
Right.
it's the same old, we'll push it off, we'll restructure contracts. Then the next season they're in the same picture. I don't know what their GM's thinking, but every year they enter the offseason with $150 million in cap, in cap hell. I don't know how this team does it, but, they somehow manage to be in cap hell. Like I said, at some point you just got to sit there, and I get it, it's a weak division, and we'll talk division predictions soon. But at some point you just got to look at it and say, you know what, fuck it. We've got to, just eat up the cap.
Right.
But all right, we're running, we're on the 45-minute mark, so I do want to kind of speed this up a little. Sorry, I'm just playing with this here. All right, so divisions. We'll start in the AFC, and I guess we'll start with the AFC East. Let's predict the order of that division.
I think the way that you have it right now already ran out. Bills, Dolphins, Jets, Pats. That's exactly how it's gonna be.
I feel like the Dolphins are such a wild card. Not to get ahead, but the reason I say they're a wild card is how healthy does Tua stay? If Tua stays healthy all 17, they're second, and I'd say it's a close division. Now, if Tua's unhealthy, gets hurt, misses a couple games, I could see, because this is a division where anybody gets hurt, frankly, I think the next two teams below could jump on it. Okay, I think that's just how tight this division is. What's that?
No, I agree with you.
Yeah, so
I really do.
it's not just Tua we got to worry about. Now, I'm not saying Josh Allen's injury prone, but let's just say Josh Allen gets hurt. That next team behind is going to jump right on it, and that's two games that could help or hurt you. So,
Right.
what I'm saying is I like that order too, assuming everybody stays healthy. Otherwise, like I said, we could be seeing a mess there. AFC North, that's the Steelers, the Bengals, the Ravens, and the Browns. And let me just say before we predict that division that I think, based on everything I've seen this past week, of course, if you haven't watched it, Nick Wright says the Steelers are winning that division. Okay, first off, I think, Jason, I know we should have talked this off camera. I think we're just going to have to create a new segment called Worst Take of the Week going forward.
Okay, I
Because
mean,
we'll have more than enough content from Skip Bayless and Nick Wright alone.
probably.
So, with that, what's the division order? Before I get distracted with that.
I say Bengals, Steelers, Ravens, Browns.
I'm going to slightly disagree with you, but I think this is another division that's going to be tight below the Bengals. Okay, I think it's Bengals, Ravens. I'm going to go Browns and Steelers, to be honest. And I'm sorry, your brother's going to hate me for it, but I feel like the Browns, with Nick Chubb being the solo back now, I think they can make some noise in that division and, create a little bit of chaos there. And Deshaun Watson in his second year in that offense, I feel like he's going to find his rhythm pretty quick. Maybe, we'll see what happens. AFC South here.
I don't know if I like this one, honestly. To be truthfully honest with you, I'm going to have to go... this one's tough. I'm gonna definitely say the Jags are gonna win that division. I'm gonna say Jags, Titans, Colts, and Texans.
I feel like the bottom's a toss-up. So, I'm sorry, I gotta go Jags. frankly, the bottom three are a toss-up. And I think we forgot another one as far as head coaches. Mike Vrabel might be on the hot seat, too.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say 100%.
But I feel like the Titans will be second by default. I think that's what it's going to be. I'm going to go Texans then Colts because I feel like the Texans are in a better quarterback situation than the Colts are. So I'm going to go just barely because
quarterback starting, so I mean
Jonathan Taylor is the difference maker and why I'm saying Colts fourth.
Yeah, and the Colts are going with a guy that has barely even had many carries in his NFL career. So this is going to be interesting. That they're basically going with a rookie quarterback and basically a rookie running back to start the year.
Now they could surprise.
Zach Moss is still hurt.
Okay, they could surprise. So let's not rule out a potential surprise, but I just don't see it.
True.
AFC West.
Well, Chiefs 100%. Chiefs, I'm going to say Chiefs, Chargers, Raiders, Broncos.
Now I said in my bold predictions that I said the Chiefs are going to get swept by the Chargers. Now look, let's put all, full-on bets aside. I do think that's going to happen. I think that's a real possibility that could happen. Do I see them winning the division? They're the Chargers, and I'm used to heartbreak. So I feel like this Travis Kelce story is going to be blown out of proportion. The Chris Jones one, not so much. So I feel like the division's going to be close coming to Week 18. I'm going to say the Chiefs narrowly over the Chargers, maybe a game. Then you're just going to have a battle for the basement again with the Broncos and the Raiders. But going to the NFC, we'll start with what used to be the least and is now the NFC beast.
I'm going to say this now. Eagles, Cowboys, Giants, Commanders.
I agree, but I worry that the Giants were a one-season fluke. I'm sorry, I'm not buying the Giants as a serious contender just yet. But I do agree with the order.
As far as the North goes...
Oh, yeah, AFC. Sorry, I wasn't sure if you were going to bounce back with something because Brian Daboll's.
No.
That's why I was... That's what's the long pause, but let's go NFC North.
I still think it's the Vikings division to lose, so I'm going to have to say Vikings, Lions, and I'm going to say Bears over the Packers. I think the Packers are going to end up being last in the division this year.
I'm telling you, man, and again, you and I've told you, have been at odds for the last 6 months on the future of the Lions.
Listen,
I'm telling you, this is the biggest beef I have with you right now.
Everybody craps on Kirk Cousins, but Kirk Cousins actually surprisingly had a really good year last year.
But come on, it's the Lions. The Lions had the best comeback of last year.
I get it, but still.
I'm sorry. I'm going Lions, then I'm going Vikings, then I'm going to go Packers, then I'm going to say the Bears. I'm sorry. I think Eberflus is going to be gone at the end of the year, too. NFC South, which has now become the weakest division in football.
This one's a tough one. I have no idea who could honestly win this division this year. I really don't. I'm gonna say somehow magically the Saints do win the division. I'm gonna say Saints, Bucks, Falcons, and Panthers.
It's,
I just don't know about the Panthers quite yet. I think the Falcons just have a little slight edge of being third and not being dead last.
if you hear that knocking, that's opportunity, because not only is Michael Thomas back, but still injury prone, but let's add in as well, Alvin Kamara's suspended to start the season.
True.
Okay.
Well, only 3 games. You have Chris Olave, who can still go out there and be a beast of a receiver.
But
Michael Thomas, I mean, if he can stay healthy and go back to form, I think can be good. But
also,
Olave is going to definitely carry that offense for the time being.
But Derek Carr also,
and they also have
proved
Jamal Williams too.
Mm-hmm.
Don't count it out. They have Jamal Williams who could honestly play pretty well. So I don't think you can't count out the Saints quite yet. I mean, he's got to carry that ball more than he did last year for the Lions, you know. But look what he did with the Lions.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he had quite a lot of touchdowns and short yardage. But
here's my beef with it. Okay, Derek Carr was, outside of Dak Prescott, the worst statistical starting quarterback last season. He proved not only was he not a top 15 quarterback, frankly, you probably couldn't even put him top 20 after last year. That's how bad Derek Carr played. Now, I'm saying the Saints will win the division, but it's not going to be, because of good play whatsoever.
Right.
Derek Carr is a guy who's been in the league, and I'm sorry, but he's been in the league for 12 years. He has not won anything. You could argue, you could come back at me with, well, neither did Matt Stafford until he went to the Lions, but Matt Stafford was a legitimate top 15 quarterback when he was with the Lions. He always put up big numbers. Derek Carr hasn't done shit. What?
Oh, I was going to say, the whole thing with Matthew Stafford, when you were saying when he went to the Lions, I'm like, wait, he was on the
when
Lions.
He was
you mean
with
he
the
went
Lions.
To the Rams?
When he was with the Lions,
yeah.
I meant. But Derek Carr hasn't done shit in his career to prove that he's even a top 20 quarterback. I'm sorry. You can hate on me all you want. It's the truth. But I just
think that with how weak that division is, they're just going to get the slight edge of winning
default. But then I'm going to go Falcons, because for some reason everybody's high on the Falcons. You got Pitts and you got Drake London, I believe it is, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you got those two in the offense. Desmond Ritter's going to be, in his second year.
Don't cut out Bijan Robinson either. I mean,
yeah, Bijan Robinson too. I think they did a lot with that offense. I could see him, I could see them taking it to the Saints, to be honest. Okay, I know that people are laughing at him, but it's the truth. Then Panthers, I think number 3, because Frank Reich is just straight up going to outcoach the Bucks, and I think the Bucks will be 4th. But final division, NFC West, which at one point was the best division in football, now it's fizzling out.
I'm going to give a very weird thing. I'm going to still say the 49ers are going to win that division, but I'm going to say the Rams are going to be better than they were last year and be second and fight the 49ers for that division this year. I think it's going to be 49ers, Rams, Seahawks, and Cardinals.
I just don't know if I can agree with you on that. Here's the thing. I'm a fool if I say anybody but the 49ers is going to win that division. Okay? The reports of the Rams trying to deal Stafford and the fact it's just out in the open that they feverishly tried to deal him away, You just wonder, do they turn it into fuel or do they let it, every time something goes wrong, does it, revert back to we wish we traded you? So for that reason, I'm going to give the Seahawks a very slight edge. But the Seahawks to me are the same team as the Giants. Just, I don't feel like they've done enough. So then, yeah, I'm going to say Seahawks, Rams, Cardinals behind the 49ers. So with that, let's do playoff seeding real quick. We just hit the hour mark. So, what do you think for the AFC and NFC here?
It's too tough to have to try to predict that. I will say I think you got Buffalo, Kansas City, um, Jacksonville. Who else am I missing?
I think you missed Cincy.
And Cincy. And I think that you would have to add. I think Dolphins are going to be a wild card team. Chargers are going to be a wild card team, and maybe the Jets. I don't know. I think that's your seven right there in the AFC. NFC, you're gonna have Eagles, Vikings, Saints, and 49ers is your top ones. Your wild cards are going to be, I think the Cowboys are going to be a wild card team. I say the Lions are going to be a wild card team, and the Rams are going to be a wild card team.
Interesting. See, I'm saying this right now. I think the Bengals are going to be the top seed in the AFC. That's my prediction. I think with everything going on in Kansas City, I'd say the Bills are the number 2 seed. I'm going to go Chiefs number 3, Jacksonville 4. So I think, once the Chiefs get past the first round, if they play the Bills or the Bengals, they're going to have to do it in Buffalo or in Cincinnati this year. So I think that's going to be a big change for them. Going to the 5th seed, I think they're pretty self-explanatory for the wild cards. I think it's going to be... The question is the order, and I think it's going to be the Chargers number 5. I think it's going to be the Dolphins number 6, and then the Jets number 7. But I think it's not going to be without challenge for the 7th seed. NFC, I could see the Eagles taking it. I think the road to the Super Bowl is going to go through Philly. Excuse me.
Could be possible.
So, Philly, San Fran, Detroit. But I think Detroit's going to be close for that number 2 seed. Especially because we don't know what Brock Purdy's going to do. Then I'm going to go Saints. Vikings number 5. Sorry, I gotta move this over just a hair so I can see it. So forget I said Vikings number 5. Sorry, I'm looking. I'm gonna say Cowboys by default for number 6. I'm gonna say Seahawks number 7. So, Super Bowl. What do you think?
I'm thinking a rematch of like what happened in like the past. I'm thinking Bengals and 49ers in the Super Bowl.
I could see it. I'm wondering though. I think the Eagles could go back, but I'm gonna say Bengals and Eagles for this year's Super Bowl.
I mean, it would be nice to see my team in there, but I just don't think it's going to happen.
Yeah. So
If
then,
it does, cool. If not, I mean,
but
that window is just officially
see.
closed. I hate to say it.
Yeah, but I think though the Eagles are about to lose back-to-back Super Bowls. That's my prediction. Yes. Um, sorry, City of Brotherly Love, but I think it's going to be a Bengals Super Bowl. I think Joe Burrow's finally going to get that elusive ring. Um, you know, I think we'll just put an end to not only is Joe Burrow still Patrick Mahomes' dad, but now it's going to be okay. Well, I got a ring too, mother. Okay, so that's what I think we're going to see this off season. Then, as far as awards, what are we thinking? Because we know who's going to be comeback player of the year, but at least the three big ones.
It would be nice to see if he's actually comeback player of the year. I mean, they might just end up giving it to him regardless if he plays or not, which would be perfect. I think he's very, very well deserving of it. As far as MVP, I'm saying Joe Burrow, to be honest with you.
Joe Burrow. Did you say
Um,
that?
yeah, I said Joe Burrow.
I agree. See, we agree about
Um,
one thing today.
Rookies of the year. I'm thinking Bijan Robinson for NFC. As far as AFC goes, oh, I mean, I don't know. Maybe Dalton Kincaid. I think he can win Rookie of the Year for AFC. He has that potential upside that he can be a good player for the Bills. So I think that he can end up being Offensive Rookie of the Year for AFC. As well as far as Players of the Year, I think Justin Jefferson for the NFC is going to get it again. As far as AFC goes, I don't know.
Let's see. So we agreed on MVP. I think that's right. See, Rookie of the Year, I'm thinking obviously Bajan's going to be for the NFC offensive. AFC offensive, the problem is the AFC rookies aren't that strong. I mean, CJ Stroud, Anthony Richardson. I mean, CJ's going to win it over him, but I mean, the next, again, I don't know. I feel like it's a quarterback award if it's available to a quarterback. So I wouldn't even be shocked if Bryce Young wins NFC, but Bijan deserves it. Then you go defensive. Sorry. So we go defensive.
Oh, I was going to say Offensive Player of the Year. I think it's going to be J. Jeff. Yet again, second year in a row. As far as defensive, I think
Yeah.
T.J. Watt, if he can stay healthy. I mean,
See, defensive rookie. I'm gonna go Will Anderson. I think Will Anderson's gonna win it for the AFC. Um, then the NFC. I wouldn't be shocked if Jack Campbell takes it for the Lions.
hmm.
Okay, now as far as offensive player of the year, man, that's a tough one. Shoot, I'm sorry, I'm blanking here, but I feel like it's going to be a running back or a wide receiver. Man, I'll come back to that in a second. I'm losing my mind. So, as far as defensive player of the year, I'm sorry, guess what? It's not going to be a pass rusher this time. Spoiler alert there. It's going to be Sauce. Okay, it's Sauce season. As far as NFC, I've heard Micah Parsons' name. I wouldn't be shocked there that they'll finally give it to him. Offensive.
I was gonna say he's a Hall of linebacker, so it would not shock me.
Yeah, offensive player of the year for the NFC. I'm gonna say Christian McCaffrey. I think this is the first season he's gonna stay fully healthy, and he's gonna prove to people that he is a top 5 running back. So, actually, I'm going to go Jamar Chase for Offensive Player of the Year in the AFC. I think it's going to be the tag team duo there. So, all right. On that note, let's go with our Week 1 Thursday Night Football predictions. Lions at Chiefs. I haven't taken a look at the odds for that, but what do you think here?
I think if Kelsey doesn't play, I'm gonna go Lions. I'm gonna say I go with the Lions getting the upset here. I don't think Kelsey's gonna play, and I think Lions had that best opportunity because I think the Chiefs without Kelsey, I get it that they've done it before and they've found ways to win, but that wide receiver group does not look good at all. I mean, Tony and Sky Moore and I think that the Lions, with that upgraded defense, is going to make Mahomes stay a living hell, especially without having Travis Kelce. So I'm going to have to go with the Lions upsetting the Chiefs here Week 1.
Travis Kelce, like Gronk, has been that security blanket for Mahomes. And without that, I could see Isaiah Pacheco being very involved. I feel like he could, at least keep this game interesting. I'm going to go with the Lions regardless of if Kelce plays or not. I just think that the Lions are a good team, and I think they're going to showcase to the world on opening night when a banner is being raised. I think they're going to showcase that they are a team that is serious, that they are a team that can go out here and really just make waves and wreak havoc in the NFC. So
just think about it this way. The last time Jared Goff played up against Mahomes in a primetime game, it was the highest scoring game, one of the highest scoring games in NFL history.
I mean,
could we see another high scoring back and forth contest where Jared Goff ones up Mahomes again?
I promise you I'm not looking for a shameless plug by saying this, but I think that game was the best game besides the 13 seconds game or 17-second game.
13 seconds.
13 seconds. Okay, I got it right the first time. I think that was the best game besides the 13-second game. And again, I'm not looking for a plug to just say it to upset you Bills fans, but that's the truth. But I got one more prediction, speaking of the Bills, before we sign off here. Jason, Chargers are beating the Bills this year. That's my prediction.
Okay.
I don't know. I think when it gets closer, we should.
I'm making a prediction. Gabe Davis is going to be a 1,000-yard receiver this year. I'm making that prediction.
Yeah.
That man has some upside. He's playing on a contract year. He's finally a captain after, 4 years of being on the team. I think that this is a prove-it year for him. I think he's going to go out there and be that security blanket for the Bills. Somebody that can take the weight off of Stephon Diggs' shoulders for once. So I think that he's going to go out there and be close to 1,000, if not get to 1,000 yards. So I'm making that bold prediction. I think Gabe Davis is going to be that guy that's going to really help Buffalo out in a major way.
Yeah. But, all right. That's our season preview. Tune in on Sunday for Sunday Morning Tinkle. Out of turn 4, I forgot to mention this. Of course, No Final Bell is being uploaded while we're recording, I believe. So, but out of turn 4, I forgot to mention this on social media. It was postponed. It will be at noon tomorrow. So, noon Thursday. So, tune in for that. And then we'll be back here on Sunday. Until then, goodbye, everyone.